Good afternoon, everybody. Gary here from Wide Productions, once again, about to take you into another session of the Falconeer beta, which is now unfortunately over for the general population. We do hope that if you took part, you enjoyed absolutely every second of the game, and we are encouraging people to go and jump onto the feedback form and provide any bugs and feedback that they wish. But for myself, I get to keep playing it for a little bit longer, and I'll share some more of this with you today. We're going to be looking at the third chapter, especially the early missions that were present in the beta, and taking a tour around a couple of the factions and the places that they inhabit, just to give you a little bit of an idea of the state of the world of the Falconeer. Please make yourselves comfortable, grab something to eat and drink, and I'll be with you in one moment. Okay, preparations are complete, the birds have been sufficiently groomed, and we are ready to get ourselves into the Ursee. I hope you've all had a fantastic weekend. We are running up into the last 2 days of the Steam Festival now, so we're going to have a stream today and then one more tomorrow where we'll be joined by developer Thomas Sala to talk a little bit about the more RPG-focused elements of the game, more specifically the upgrades, mutagen system, and statistics, because what is a game without a good hard amount of numbers behind it? But for today, we're going to take a little tour of the third chapter and beyond. Now, if we have a little bit of a look at our current situation, we kind of already experimented on our Falcon with some mutagens. You can see his eyes in the bottom left here are a little bit glazed over, for want of a better word.
A good position among...
But thankfully,
choose now what stories and memories...
we get to give ourselves a little bit of a refresh as we start our next chapter. So we do keep our statistics and our overall level.
Can be gleaned from these lives. Ascend now, Falconeer.
Off we go.
House Borgia believe they have earned their independence from the Mancer order and the great vaults of knowledge they control. Shard has waited patiently, preparing for this time of unprecedented change. The emancipation of House Borgia will pave the way for the future of all great houses. This time is now.
So just from that very small piece of dialogue at the very beginning of the chapter, you get a rough idea that all is not well in the uneasy alliance between the Mancer order and other houses within the Ursee. And whilst this kind of fracture is occurring, Shard, in particular, this very... I mean, quite literal, shard-driven rock pile in the middle of the ocean, believes that in this time of change is the time for them to start striking their own path. Interestingly enough, the shard itself was believed to be formed when giants threw their spears into the ocean many, many, many years ago, forming the well, shards that you see surrounding the buildings. Not too dissimilar from if anyone has ever been to Ireland or even resides there now. Legends of the Giant's Causeway and so on and so forth.
An inquisition is unavoidable. The race is on to uncover the remainder of the Mancer's secrets and release their grip on the Imperium. But first, we need to buy ourselves more time.
So as things begin to escalate, we're going to start being a little bit more confrontational with the Mancer Order, who are kind of like a spectre over a large portion of the game, although you do kind of get more direct control and exposure to them in the 4th chapter. We won't be looking at that today. The Mancer are basically the eldest group in the Falconeer. They've been around probably for as long as the Ursee itself has, and they've seen every single one of these factions and houses and generational shifts rise and fall and rotate. So to them, this is probably just another Monday. But for us, starting from the Shard, it means that we're going to take this opportunity to take the fight to them.
Is inevitable. It's only a matter of time before the Empress yields to the Mancer's demand for punitive action against House Borgia. We did not expect the Knot Bomb to be so potent, but we cannot toss that fish back in the sea. We must deal with the consequences. Our first task is to plead our case with the Empress and ensure House Borgia won't be sacrificed to the Mancer Order.
We will deliver a package containing pledges of support to the Imperial Palace. Many in the Imperium endorse our challenge to the Mancer Order. Hopefully it will stay in the Empress's hand.
Both of you will need to be on your best behavior for this one. Good luck.
So we start off with very much a diplomatic mission. Not to dive too deep into the story, and before we begin, actually, we've made a habit of taking a ludicrous amount of screenshots from this game whenever we do these streams. So we are gonna just take this opportunity, because I'm not gonna lie, we were to quickly pull that back up and bring ourselves down a bit. This looks kind of cool. So just give me one moment and we will take our customary screenshot. What do we reckon? Let's see if we bring that up a little bit. Just a little more. There we go. Awesome. No doubt we will end up taking a billion more of those as we go. But not to dive too deep into story spoiler relations, but as you can gather, there's been something of a world-changing event towards the end of the last one. Something has happened which has basically caused a huge rift, and people are looking to point a finger at somebody. House Borgia is worried, concerned that they themselves are going to be sacrificed to the Mancer Order as they seek somebody to blame. So we find ourselves going on a bit of a diplomatic mission in order to try and rally up a little bit of support and ensure that we are not given the sharp end of the Mancer's wrath.
Ah! We found some Imperial pomp!
Never easy, is it?
Fire on this filthy rich man's servant!
As is wont to happen in the world of the Falconeer, as well as organized factions, there are pirates, ne'er-do-wells, and everything in between. Opportunists that will seek any opportunity to take what they can. Thankfully, our opening salvos are fire pots, which do wonders for getting some damage over time in the form of fire damage. So we can just kind of flick between targets here, stay mobile, and let that fire do the hard work for us. Or you can headbutt them, which we wouldn't recommend. The problem is that we're carrying a chest right now, And when you're lumbered and over-encumbered as we are, carrying something so large, I mean, you gotta remember, these birds are big. So that chest to be of equal size to the bird, it's gonna be massive. We can't be quite as agile as we normally would be. Our diving isn't an option. Our rolling isn't an option. We can drop the chest, like so. And regain some of our agility. But what's important is that you remember where you dropped it. Because we're going to go pick that back up after.
Let's ascend Imperial Peak to the palace.
Thankfully, the map will guide us. And bobbing along in the ocean, we find our diplomatic documents. As well as a whale. What's up, whale? We're not going to mess with him. I'm as fond as fishing as the next Falconeer, but that one is just a little bit too big for us. Okay. We'll quickly gather up the splinters from those that we've just fought, and we carry on. Take a quick lightning recharge. Unfortunately, that was the end of our fire pots. We've used all of those up, so for now we're going to stick with good old lightning. And ride that wind wave right back up. And just breaking through the clouds here. We can see Imperial Peak breaking its way through. And honestly, I know I already said that we're going to be taking a lot of pictures. But to me, this one looks kind of great. So if you bear with me one moment, we're just going to see whether daytime still holds that same sense of wonder. I think we'll get a bit of variation in. I actually kind of want our wings to come down a bit too. Hold up. There we go. That's better. Yeah, that's much better. I'm no David Attenborough. I'm no Bob Ross, but I'm more than capable of picking a good picture when we see one. Yeah, there we go. And let's get one at nighttime, because it was the nighttime one that originally caught my eye. It's got a nice bathed in blue. The constellations up. There we go. So we've arrived at Imperial Peak. A little battered, a little bruised, certainly not unscathed, but our Falcon is flying, our package is intact. And hopefully this will be enough to secure House Borgia for just a little bit longer. So while we're here, let's have a little talk about Imperial Peak and the Imperium as a whole. The Imperium definitely hold the lion's share of the wealth when it comes to the Ursee. While the Mancer trade more in mystery and technology and very much the ancient state of the Ursee and mysticism and everything in between, the Imperium are very much a resource powerhouse. Their towns and their cities are sprawling. Their technology is, well, second to, I'd say, almost none. And the Imperial Peak stands as a symbol of both their power, their influence, and their ability to just absolutely surround themselves. It's quite an imposing place. but probably no more imposing than Oberon's Reach, which we might actually take a trip to. I believe that's in the next chapter, but we might take a little swing by Oberon's just as part of this session. Because the Mancer homeworld is... It's something to be seen. As you can see, there are, as in a couple of locations throughout the game, time trial lamps that you can go and race through in order to go and get a little bit of extra renown and respect. The oceans are calm, the winds are smooth. I'd say there's not a cloud in the sky, but we can all very much see that is not the point, or the case. So I'm going to burn our way back with our little diplomacy run, relatively successful. Very nicely placed updrafts for us here, thank you very much. How are we looking on our resources? 315. Probably not enough to go and visit the Imperium. The Emporio, even. Always worth a chance if you get the opportunity to do so, though. The Airborne Emporio is very much what it says on the tin. You can hear the chime of its bells echoing across the Ursee. It's a big balloon where trinkets and upgrades can be purchased for splinters. But it looks like we've been engaged on while we were stargazing, so bear with me one moment. Oh, these are Mancers, and that's a lot of Mancers. Okay.
Falconeers of House Borgia, submit to the Mancer order. You have been deemed oath-breakers. Your lives void.
Well, just by even being associated with Borgia.
Earthbreaker! Illiterate trash!
We have been deemed surplus to requirements. I'm just gonna stay behind this one. Oh no, he slipped me. Come on. There goes one. We need some elevation. We'll use our boost to get up above them. Our wingman's up here with us.
Barbarian!
As long as we keep moving, we should be okay.
Not allowed!
Let's dive out the way for a second, bring ourselves back around.
Held the path! Yield, Earthbreaker!
We ain't yielding, buddy. But this boy is about to go down. Thankfully,
Fool!
this seems way more of a scouting party than a general attempt on our lives. Get the feeling that they very much would have rather that we did yield to be taken in and dealt with officially. Are we good? I think we're good. Oh, what do we have here? Is this a random legendary pirate roaming his way across? I mean, we probably shouldn't. We've got much bigger fish to fry, but... Oh! Oh!
Damn you!
Oh! Okay. We may have bitten off more than we can chew here. Let's find out.
You seem too busy. Return when you're more available for some escort work.
Looks like we are not the only ones that have beef. with this particular captain.
We are with you. We protect our own.
Forces of the Imperium have come here. Quick handbrake turn. Is he making a... Is he trying to escape down into the moor?
Fire on this filthy rich man's servant.
Oh. This is spiraling quite badly out of control.
See you. Be safe on your journey.
Most definitely should not have got engaged in this. The captain has vanished off into the moor.
Alarm! We
The
have
pirates are getting engaged. You know, we're going to leave them to it. Quick spot of fishing while we're here. Come on, fish. Thank you. Whew. So there are legendary units. I should probably explain those. Legendary units that roam the world. And every now and then, you may have the fortune or ill fortune to come across one of them. Doing so puts you in a position where you can kill them and maybe end up with some pretty good loot, a good amount of splinters, and a little bit of a reputation boost for your trouble. But as you saw, I mean, we put some heavy fire into that dude, and he was being bombarded by multiple Imperium warships at the same time. Barely even left a scratch. They don't go down easy, and are probably best left alone unless you've actually got the equipment and the skill to deal with them. Eat that fish. Here we are.
We upheld the path. Yield, Oathbreaker.
This seems a little bit more like what I was expecting.
intellect from the earth there.
Let's just keep going on these weavers. Important to note, they might look like dragons, and I will continue to call them dragons, but they're actually weavers.
Our ancient wrath. We ride the ancient weaver. You stand no chance.
Yeah, well, sorry, buddy. I think you're very much mistaken.
Falconeer that thinks he can take on the Mancer order.
Wow. Let's order our wingman to focus fire on the same target.
Wipe your insignificant intellect from the earth there. Here's the sanction for test our ancient wrath. We ride the ancient weaver. You stand no chance.
I'm afraid that is where you are wrong, sir. Your weaver... Sorry, were you going to say something? Yeah, I thought not. Thanks for the splinters, though.
Illiterate trash.
They really don't like the fact that we can't read, do they? Gives you some kind of an insight to the Mancer Order and how much they value knowledge and intelligence above all.
Your presence here is not allowed.
Looks like we've thinned them down to the less of their ranks now.
Upheld the path.
House Borgia stands alone against the Mancer, but it is still standing. Let us land and share the fuels.
Oh, that was a heck of a skirmish. What started out as a simple drop-off of some political documents spiraled into a couple of ambushes and a little bit of a fleeting encounter with a legendary pirate captain. Life is never dull in the Ursee. And, you know the rules, if there's an archway, you have to fly under it. That's not an in-game rule, it's one that I've just made up. But you all know it to be true.
We have 1 month. The Empress wants to see what we can gain, and if we fail, she'll be rid of us. All things considered, this is a satisfactory outcome for us. Good work.
So the outcome of our little sortie was that we've gained ourselves a month. A month of time in which to prove that House Borgia is definitely not worth sacrificing to the Mancer. We didn't do too well on that. 63 out of 100. Not the best score. Our accuracy was a little bit all over the place. And as you can see, the deadliest opponent was Captain Berger.
Time for our plans.
Legendary pirate.
A mighty warship has been under construction at Clefspire. It is time to send it into action.
Now, shards still aren't looking great financially, and we've used a lot of ammunition. Oh wow, we need to find a lightning storm before we do anything. Here we can see a couple more of the weapons that you can pick up. At the moment we're just using a standard lightning caster. You can see its quality is 1 out of 6 stars. These here are kind of upgrades. The Magnetar rifle, for example, is a very much more impactful version of the lightning caster. It does a lot more damage. It fires a little bit slower. Think of it kind of like a longer range shotgun, if you will, compared to the kind of machine gun spray of the caster. Or you can get yourself a nice shiny acidic mucus gobspitter. What a fantastic name. That will slow and do organic damage to anything that you hit it. We don't have the money for that because we spent all of our previous shards on mutagens. So for now, we'll stick with what we've got. I think we'll just about be able to hold it up.
Plans to bear fruit. House Borgia has been preparing for this moment for centuries. Finally, we have an opportunity to strike and free the Imperium from the clutches of the Mancer Order.
So as we mentioned at the very start of the chapter, the disruption between the Imperium and the Mancer has kind of led to this catalyst where all of a sudden House Borgia has decided, you know what? We've been sat in the shadows waiting. We ain't about the man anymore. And while everyone's making eyes at each other and pointing fingers, they're just going to use it. That one spark.
Part of our work with House Mercius of Clefspire has been the construction of a new class of battleship, based on stolen Mancer technology. We will escort this dreadnought to Moorbridge to blockade Mancer forces from the north, sending a message not only to the Mancer Order, but also to the Empress and the Great Houses.
So, the Moorbridge, as you can probably gather, is the one piece of Ursee water that actually goes across the moor in the middle of the Ursee. Basically owned by the Imperium. And if you ever need to cross from the north to the southern waters of the Ursee, you need to go across a Moorbridge and pay a toll and so on and so forth. It's a very controlled environment. You can, of course, go around the outskirts, but that's kind of where pirates and ne'er-do-wells lay, so you pay a price for that little bit of safety. And paperwork. Can't forget the paperwork. We're going to be taking a dreadnought, a big vessel that's been created from Mancer technology and kind of reverse engineered, in the hopes that this show of force will basically impress the Empress and say, hey, look, don't sacrifice us. You know what? Let's be done with the Mancers. How about we take it to them? And look, we've got this big boat that we stole from them. And they're going to see how that works out.
Mancer Order. The fate of our people is in our hands. Resistance from all sides will be ferocious. So be alert.
This ship was built with the sole purpose of taking on the Mancer Order. We will use their own mechanisms against them.
Drums of war pounding in the background. The sun beginning to set. And an Imperium dreadnought. Created with stolen technology against the very house that has such a grip over the Ursee. We check our map right now, if I'm not mistaken. The dreadnought itself has left from Clefspire, which is, for those of you that played the beta, Chapter 2's location. You can see there that it's on its way over. And it will actually, if we were to just chill here and hang around, it would eventually move. But we're going to meet it halfway. Because we're the escort, right? And thankfully, an escort mission in the Falconeer doesn't quite have the same feeling of dread that escort missions usually have in video games. The folks that you escort are usually better armed than you are. And more than capable of holding their own in a firefight. Just poking through the clouds there. We can see this marvel of Mancer technology, repurposed for war against the very owners of what birthed it.
This mighty vessel is hankering for Spartani.
Well, let's hope it's a little bit less Titanic. As it chugs its way along. Whales at its side. And a 2-man Falconeer escort. Hold on a minute, because I get the feeling based on that noise. Oh, yeah. If only that whale was a little bit closer. Kind of looks like the whale's actually making a good effort to try and take us out. We'll give him a wide berth. So far, so good.
This ship is an abomination.
You ever think that you should just, like, not say anything? What did we forget, chat? We forgot to restock our ammunition. We're gonna have to hope that the ship and our wingman are gonna be able to hold their own for a moment, because we need to go recharge. Come on, Lightning, do your thing. That's it. Whoa! They're not content to let us reload. They know what's gonna happen if we get our full tanks. Ooh. Alright, buddy. You want to fight in a lightning storm? We can fight in a lightning storm.
You know nothing, fool!
The benefits of fighting in a lightning storm. 1. Reloads on command. 2. Looks pretty damn epic. Downsides. Thick clouds. Very easy to lose your target. And also, potential for overcharging. If you've got full tanks, and you get hit by a lightning bolt, you're gonna get singed. It's not gonna be pretty. I'm actually quite thankful that they chased us out here. Because the alternative would have been them just sat there beating our escort.
This ship is proof that we need to be led by those willing to use what they learn.
We arrived!
Oh, here's some weavers.
You stand no chance! Another thief! Dying for the blade!
Oh! We took a little pounding there. Let's regroup.
I I shall wipe your insignificant intellect from the earth then.
Woo. Alright, that's a big threat gone. Just gonna see the ship continues to do what it does best.
We ride the ancient weaver. You stand no chance.
You just saw us kill the Weaver, right, buddy? I want to be clear. Want to be sure. Whew. Oh, score 1 for the wingman. Nom 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 nom. So as I was saying, oh, we were so rudely interrupted. So far, so good. Don't fly into the people you're escorting. Just good life lesson. Of course, I did that completely on purpose in order to demonstrate for you. Oh. More weavers.
You disobey the path.
Okay, multiple weavers at once. That's not going to be easy.
Presence here.
While they may be big
Be gone.
and are easy to pick out in a crowd,
Your insignificant intellect from the
they hit hard.
Here's the sanction for test our ancient wrath. We ride the ancient weaver. You stand no chance. There's another thief vying for the flame. Earthbreaker!
Oh, score 1 for the battleship.
Barbarian! Illiterate trash!
Our team is most definitely pulling their weight here. Oh, that's a worrying noise.
We upheld the path! Yield, Earthbreaker!
Look at all of these splinters. Om nom nom. We are eating well tonight. Do I see? A little charge point for us. There might not always be a storm available to recharge your armaments from. So keeping an eye on the ocean for those globes can most definitely be a lifesaver should the occasion call for it. And one swarm of falcons and warbirds, and a second swarm of giant weavers later.
The ship will defend it and serve as a beacon of our defiance.
You know what I'm gonna do. Those of you that have been here before know that I adore Moorbridge. When the sun is at its most orange. Let's quickly. Yeah. Get a little bit of a rotate on. Let's pull it out a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Can you imagine being the owner of one of these little fishing dinghies? One of these little boats just chilling on the side. And then this absolute unit of a ship just rocks up. You'll never believe what happened at work today. Well, score 1 for the good guys. The ship has reached its destination, and the Imperium Guard will take over from there. You'll often see a swarm of falcons kind of buzzing their way up and down the moor, swooping around on Moorbridge, keeping an eye on things from the Imperium. Oh. Oh, it's our friend, Captain Rowan. It looks like he's had a bit of a hard day. Well, it'd be a shame, wouldn't it, if we didn't take advantage. Even wounded and crippled in such a form, he's still formidable. But when his health is that low, why, it'd be silly for us not to, wouldn't it? Ooh. Okay. You know how they say cool guys don't look at explosions? Well, in this instance, that totally doesn't count. In this instance, cool guys very much look at explosions. And cooler guys fly through explosions. Though we might need to adjust our positioning a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay, that looks pretty cool also. Perfect. What do we see here? I want to grab that barrel. Come here, barrel. We'll be able to return this for a handsome reward. And thankfully the shard is right here. Ooh, missed our approach. There we go.
The ship is in play. Let us hope it is the rock upon which the Mancer order breaks in the coming storm.
Definitely not the best score, but look how many splinters we got for that.
We have covert agents inside the Mancer order. One of them is about to deliver some crucial information via a dead drop near Oberon's reach. You will retrieve it.
Well, let's upgrade our weapon while we're here. Chunkier weapon. And we'll grab that badge while we're here. New gun. Exciting times.
We need you to pick up intel delivered to a drop site by a covert agent. Close to Mancer holdings and away from prying eyes.
You need to avoid drawing attention from the Mancer. The path will take you past remnant freebooters. The dead drop will be near Port Remit, a den of spies, a port as lawless as any on the Ursee.
Once you have the messages, do not engage any hostiles. Make a line for the security of Fort Ichthys. They will delay any trailing forces. Return safely and swiftly. We'll have work to do once you get back.
But we just bought a new gun. I want to use it. And you'll notice that our fire rate much slower now. But if something gets hit, it's gonna feel it. So the pieces are beginning to fall into place for Fort Bourgeois now. We've bought ourselves a little bit of time with the approval of the Empress. We've delivered a battleship comprised of Mancer technology to blockade the center of the Moor. And now we're going to go and intercept a couple of dead drops and try and figure out exactly how the Mancer are planning to react to these shows of insubordination. And while we've been instructed not to engage in any kind of hostile activity, I think we all know that the chances of us being able to fly in there, grab the documents and get out are relatively slim. Oh. Well. Oh. Nice. This new gun's pretty chunky. I like it. They talk about my 3 taps. Nope. I'm seeing some rays on my horizon. Alright. Let's deal with the little boys first. You would assume that the big one is a threat. And you'd be correct. But en masse, if those things swarm, There's that gobspitter that we were talking about earlier in action. Much like the weapon we're using now. Slow fire rate. But if we get hit by that, we're going to know about it. To the depths with ye. Well, this doesn't look ominous at all, does it? Hey now, leave that ship alone. Excuse me. Let's deal with that little nuisance first. And then we'll deal with the Mancer. There we go. Bug down. You're talking a lot of mess for a guy in lancing distance. Just saying. We're definitely not on their Christmas card list, are we? Oh, boy. Oh! Okay, they've turned us up a notch. Let's get some fire on him, eh? Come on. Oh. Oh, oh. Come here, buddy. Got him on the ropes. But a good 2 solid hits from that wide beam cannon will take us all the way out. Oh, like so. Oh. Woo.
So close to glory, to fail in the face of it. Glory only for those...
I think we actually killed each other.
Battlefield.
Oh no. I think we actually killed each other.
I wonder what these stories mean. What they represent. This is up to you. You are the only one who can know them or find the meaning. Repeat them until you grasp the lesson.
We have covert agents inside the Mancer.
House Borgia believe they have earned...
Oh no. Well, that was not what we originally planned. But, conveniently, that does put us at the tail end of our show. Before we go any further, though, let's go and have a look over at Oberon and give you a quick view of the Mancer's home. Absolutely unbelievable that we killed each other. I would like a recount. Let's climb ourselves up to where the air current is. Here we go. As efficient as those are for travel, the warbirds are not great fans of being thrown into a fast-facing draft. And boy, do they let you know about it. It's quite peaceful up here. Far above the clouds. Whoa. Bird. Pro tip, do not fly into those backwards. I mean, you'd have to try pretty hard to do so. If I'm honest, I'm not entirely sure how I pulled it off myself. But you'll notice that these drafts basically operate as a, hey, get me to the other side of somewhere real quick. Very useful for that. In you go, buddy. Now, we're definitely going to come under some hostilities here. We are firmly in Mancer territory, and boy, do they like to let you know about it. This particular location, I'll try and give you a tour of, whilst under fire. Although, there's a good picture in here. I can feel it. I can feel it. Let's just turn a little more. There we go. We look very much in a spot of bother here, but I think that kind of adds to the drama of it all. Yes. So while I'm doing this, pay special attention to the music in the background. There's a little bit of a... Admittedly, the combat music is on at the moment. But the Stargazer is a very musical, magical place. I'll not say much more than that, but I'll encourage you to come here in your own time. God. We are definitely not welcome here in the slightest. But this is the Stargazer. This is a big old, important Mancer stronghold.
Alarm! We have incoming!
Yeah, you don't say. Well, let's take our leave. Because between the turrets and the weavers and the gunships, I think they've made their intentions incredibly clear that they're not happy about us being here. Oof. Are they chasing us? Oh, they are very much chasing us. Wow! Okay, you know what? We did kind of kick the hornet's nest there. So that's kind of on us. That is very much on us. Well, you know what? We will save the mysteries of the Mancer and Oberon's Reach for tomorrow's show. As we leave this little state of the world, House Borgia and the Imperium are getting ready to break free from the Mancer influence. Captain Draken, our very own Falconeer, has been playing not just a diplomat, but also a warrior in fighting off legendary pirates, Mancer assaults, and everything in between. The story behind the Falconeer is one of deep political intrigue, with many different factions all vying for control over the Ursee. And over the course of the campaign, between every chapter, the control slips from one to another, and everyone's state, position, alliances, and even their ambitions change dramatically. Tomorrow we'll be taking a look at the RPG systems within the game, from upgrades and mutagens, currency, statistics, and spending a little bit of time with the Mancer Order as the final of the Steam Showcase streams. Following this, we'll be live on Twitch every week leading up to launch, which is now less than a month away. God, doesn't time fly. This has been Gary from Wide Productions. Join me and Thomas back here tomorrow for another stream. Thank you very much for your time. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you in the Ursee on November 10th. Please don't forget to pre-order the game for Xbox One, Xbox One X, and Series X. Under Series X and S, I beg your pardon, if you are not already. Also, if PC is more your bag, please feel free to add it to your wish list by clicking the button just below this video. There's a button there that says wish list. You should most definitely click it. It's very important, and it helps out a lot, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time. Have a fantastic day.